Avengers Infinity War, Thanos Rising. You want to know what playing this game feels like?
Did we just lose?
Yeah, it's that hard. It is brutal. This is a cooperative game for 2 to 4 players which must work together to stop Thanos from collecting all 6 Infinity Stones, or defeat your heroes. And let me tell you, this game is tough. I've had about 12, maybe 14, 15 games of this. You want to know something?
How many did we win? One.
Yeah, it's that tough. But it's so addictive. Let's have a look inside. Okay, so inside the box we have the instruction manual. It's quite clear, it's quite simple. A few pages, plenty of diagrams, plenty of examples. This game was really fast to learn. I learned this game really quickly. I like to look at example attacks, how cards are drawn. It shows you little example scenarios, which I really appreciate. Nice and simple. We have the tiles, which is the gauntlet tile, and the player tile, where the cards go. We also have the Thanos figurine, which is pretty smart. It sits in the centre. Determines when he attacks and where he goes. We also have, these are the Infinity Tiles, which will build up and eventually lead to Thanos getting the stones. We have the damage counters and the Infinity damage counters. These are nice, they aren't tiles, they're actually like quite colourful little blocks, quite easy to see on the board. We have the Infinity Stones, which I like about these is they're actually gems and not tiles. Feel nice to have and they look really cool. Put them down. We have the Infinity dice and the Thanos dice. This determines how Thanos moves, which stone he gets. We'll go through that later. We have the actual dice, what you use to recruit heroes and attack villains with different symbols on. We'll go through that soon. We also have the, I can get them out, we'll go for these. The actual cards, Thanos Rising asset cards. These contain all the heroes, the team leaders, the villains, all the characters in the Infinity War movie. Vision for that everyone's in here. For the card we have the damage in the corner here. This is like the character's health. So as you can see, Captain America takes 6 damage before he is defeated. This symbol here, obviously is a hero and villain, but the heroes have different colours. You have red, blue, purple and green. And each hero has like, they help each other out with certain abilities. If you have like a red hero on your team, you watch the dice. You have a green hero, you do this effect. They apply to different characteristics of the heroes. For instance, the red is like the physical aspect, like Captain America, Black Widow and the Hulk. Blue is more like technology based. That'll be like Iron Man and Black Panther. Purple is more of a cosmic side, which is like Gamora, Drax, Groot. And green is more of like a mystic power, like Loki and Thor, Doctor Strange. And that's those. We have these are the player tokens, what you put on the board. There's 4 of these. I get them out. You can see different ones for each colour. There we go. And the different tokens too. And these are what you pick. Each player picks one, and they rely on a different area of the MCU, such as the Avengers compound, Wakanda, Sanctum Sanctorium, and Nowhere. I have Nidavellir here because unfortunately my box didn't come with the Thanos dice, which I was annoyed with really, but luckily the people at OpGames, USAopoly, was so helpful and sent me out a replacement within about 5 working days. I'm in the UK, this is in the US, so I really appreciate that. I want to thank them very much for that. And I got loads of bonus stuff, such as the card you see here, plus some other items, which was great. And now we'll go into how the game is set up. Okay, the game setup is really simple. As you can see here, I've got the gauntlet with the tiles going round. Doesn't matter what order you put them in, and you put the corresponding stone onto the tile. Each tile has, as you can see, 5 slots for the counters, and every time Thanos gets 5, he gains the stone, which you add to the gauntlet in the centre, which is really cool. One gripe I have is sometimes it's kind of hard to see, like the yellow and the orange do kind of look a bit similar, but it's just a small minor thing that I've noticed. And I'll just show you here, when he does get a stone and it's put into the centre, these flip over and reveal an ability such as add 1 damage to each of the active player's heroes with the most damage. And once you roll the appropriate dice again, they activate. But bear in mind, when he gets all 6 stones, Thanos wins. So that's that. Next up, we take the main zone here, the main sector, and place Thanos in the centre, like so. Let's see that there. I'll move this out the way so you can see a bit better. There we go. Okay, so I've got the deployment zone down, and you place Thanos facing a random sector. As you can see here, there's 3 sectors separated by lines, and each one will hold 3 cards. Whichever one Thanos is pointing at, that's where it's targeting. Keep damage counters nearby, because you're going to need them, and a lot of them. Your dice nearby. Now each team leader, each deployment zone has a team leader. It does tell you on the card. As you can see, I'm going to use the Avengers compound. My team leader is Captain America. So each player picks one, chooses their hero, and places it to the side, next to their deployment zone, with a token nearby. Next, shuffle the cards up, and you're going to place them round Thanos, 3 per sector, such as so. One of the things I like about this game is it's always different depending on what you put down, especially in the first round like this, because as you can see, I've only got 2 villains there. I've got a lot of heroes, means you can recruit more, or take out the villains quite early on. You spend turns rolling dice, dodging Thanos' attacks. He slowly gets the stones and damages heroes, activates villains. His goal is to get 6 stones, defeat 10 villains collectively, or wipe out all the heroes on your team. If I only got Captain America on my team, and I didn't recruit anyone else, and he was defeated, I'd lose, and all the players lose. You win by defeating villains. Now the game does recommend that you defeat 7 villains for a sort of easy mode, and work up to 10, 10 being the hardest. I mean, I won, but I was on 7 villains, so I find it very hard. So we take the deck, and we just place that nearby. And then also lastly, we require the bonus tokens which are nearby. You gain one of these when you defeat a villain, damage a villain, and some cards let you draw with bonus tokens. These basically are just small little tokens like this, which give you symbols for your dice rolls, or for instance, remove damage from 2 heroes. You keep them next to your character, and you can use them at any time, so you can, on your friend's go, you can remove damage from a hero and save them, or help the dice roll. And that's it. So let's go into how it starts. Okay, an example turn. Really handy is the turn order is placed in the back of each deployment card, which is easy to follow. So step 1, place the deployment token in the sector. So this is important. The very first thing you do is take your token, each player does, and they place it in the sector. Now, I'm not making this up, but the rules do say that the person who watched the MCU movie recently goes first. I'm going to go here because I want to recruit these heroes and maybe damage a villain. He's quite an easy villain to damage. Now the villains, you have the general outriders, which are kind of like the grunts. They don't do too much, they just damage other heroes of the same colour in that sector. There's 4 big ones, obviously Thanos' Black Order, which is proximity to midnight, and these are more deadly, have an extra health and do more devastating effects. And the reason you put your deployment token down first is, as I'll show you here. Next step is to roll these 2 dice. Now, simple, Infinity Stone 1, whatever colour it lands on, you put a corresponding counter onto the tile in the corner. On the tile, when it's you get 5, you flip it, you put the stone in the centre, and that card remains flipped. Once he gets all 6, he wins. It's game over. If the tile is flipped and I roll the red again, the ability on the tile activates, but only when I roll that red again. The Thanos dice is a bit simple. You have left and right, which rotates Thanos clockwise for right and counterclockwise for left. So for instance, if I rolled land on a right, he would turn this way. That means that each villain in this sector will suffer 1 damage. If he landed this way, they suffer 1 damage, and he activates the villains in the sector as well. As you can see here, her ability, add 1 damage to all heroes on the next player's team, so Captain America and anyone I recruited will take damage. If, however, he landed somehow back on where my deployment token was, not only would he damage the heroes, activate the villain, but he also put an extra damage counter on my player card, well, my hero I've got here. So you can see why putting the token down first is essential, because you can just wait to see which way he goes and put it behind him or on the other side, and it makes it more of a look factor. 2 other symbols, you have the gauntlet symbol, which means Thanos stays still hits these heroes, activates the villain, but he activates all villains not in a sector as well. So basically all the villains on the board activate, which is a nasty one to get. The other one is the stone symbol, which means you re-roll the infinity dice, you get a second roll, which is kind of nasty, and he still stays in the same spot, attacks the heroes. Once that turn is over, you roll the power dice, and assign dice, and continue re-rolling the main dice until all dice have been assigned or forfeited. And that's the only part where I found a little bit tricky. Now the dice, there's 4 colours of dice here, each with 4 symbols on. I'll just show you. You have sort of like a power symbol. These names I've given them myself, by the way, so don't go calling them these symbols. I've got power, Saturn, the cube, and I've got the eye symbol. That's just how I know what symbols are. Some dice have different properties, and the green one have extra sort of eye symbols on, as you can see, and the blue have extra the cube symbols and such. So when you roll, you look at your deployment card. It'll say there, starting dice pool. Different cards have different starting dice pools, and this is what you use. Also, all cards have a team ability. As you see there, I roll 6 or more of the power symbols, which are those. On the first roll, I add damage to a villain. These are quite hard to get early on. Once you've got more heroes, it becomes a lot easier to activate his abilities. Before you roll though, always check what heroes you got, because some heroes add dice. For instance, if I have another red hero on my team, I roll an extra red or blue dice each turn. So the more heroes you get, the more dice you roll, and ultimately the more dice you roll, the more chance you have of damaging a villain, recruiting heroes, and ultimately winning the game. So for instance, with mine, because I've got no red heroes, I'm just going to do the basic 4 red dice roll. So, very first thing first, you just roll your dice. As you can see, I've got I've got a power symbol, I've got 2 extra power symbols, I've got the little eye symbol, and I've got the cube symbol. Now what you do is, you look at the cards, if I just bring them up closer, you look at the cards here, only in your sector and only your sector, and you've got to determine which one you think you've got a better chance at getting at, because basically you remove dice and keep rolling until you get the hero or run out of dice. So for instance, I've only got 1 eye, so I need 1 more eye for Wong. I'm quite close to getting Star-Lord, I just need 2 more of the Saturn symbols. Or I could simply go for damaging the Outrider, because I only need to re-roll 1 more Saturn symbol. So I've got more odds of getting the Outrider, or I could go for Star-Lord. It's entirely up to you. That's where I find the fun in the game. It's if you want to recruit a hero, go for a villain. You're always playing the chance game in this. You're always testing your luck. So let's say I wanted to damage the Outrider, as you can see there. So what you do is, you keep the dice, what you've rolled, what apply to the card. So for instance, this applies to the card, and these ones don't, so I remove these. And then you re-roll. Now if I got a Saturn, I recruit it. I didn't. If you don't get a Saturn symbol, it's gone, your turn's over. For instance though, say if I picked Star-Lord, what I'd do instead is, I think, right, that applies to the card, that applies to the card, I've already got the power, I don't need that, and that's not on the card at all. So I re-roll these again, hoping to get 2 Saturn symbols. Now I didn't get them, and I failed. Say if I rolled though, and I got 1 Saturn symbol, I re-roll again, because say I rolled this outcome. One sound still remains, it applies to the card, this one's a dud, I've already got the other ones, and you roll again. It's a little bit tricky, it took me a few goes to work out, but it's not too bad. Now, if I just explain how damaging works. When a hero suffers enough damage to be defeated, if they're on your team, at the end of the round, they're defeated. When Thanos attacks, you take your damage counters. I'll place them up here so they're easy to see in the appropriate slots. Now, if they suffered enough damage to be defeated, don't move off the board until the end of the round, because if, say, they were in my sector, you can still recruit them. You still got a chance to recruit them before the round's over. So say if Wong here, poor Wong, suffered 4 damage and was defeated in this turn, but my sector was here, you still got a chance to recruit him before he's defeated. If you dice roll and you don't get him, or you recruit someone else or damage a villain, that's it, he's defeated and added to the corner. And then end the round, you get a new card to replace this one. And you keep going and going. Let's say, for instance, I managed to recruit Wong. He would go there on my team. And he also has an ability, once per turn, you may re-roll any dice before assigning dice. So, even just getting one extra hero, you've got more chance of doing more abilities and do more damage. And then another card is added, and we have the Quinjet. And they keep going and going. If I damaged a hero, I would take one of the bonus tokens right here. If it's something like a symbol, you keep that, and then when you roll your dice and you think, oh, I need an extra power symbol, you just throw that in there. You can also use these for your teammates. If they're trying to get something, you're working together, you add these in anytime you want to. It makes the game really good. You really have to work together to decide what's the best route to take, what villains to go for. Do you want to be defensive? Do you want to help each other out? Do you want to heal each other? That's why I love this game. It's so fun. All the villains, for instance, these villains here abilities, the basic general outriders, all have these kind of abilities where if he's in a sector, all red and purple heroes in the sector suffer extra damage. So, for instance, the Quinjet and Star-Lord are down here. They're red and purple. They suffer damage because of the card, plus damage from Thanos if it's in a sector. So heroes can be destroyed quite fast, so you've got to be really on the ball, constantly keeping an eye on the damage, seeing who's only defeated first, trying to save them, because 10 heroes can be defeated really quickly. And I like hero, all the heroes are also useful. I mean, you might think, oh, I prefer Gamora, or Drax than the Quinjet, but the Quinjet allows you to, it's easy to recruit. As you can see, you only need 3 power symbols and 1 on the cube, so easy in the Gamora to recruit, even though Gamora is really good and got more health. But once per turn, you can remove damage from a hero, and this is extremely useful. And I think that is pretty much how the game flows. It's pretty simple, it's pretty addictive, and it's really fun. So, to summarise, this game is brutal, challenging, but really fun. If you want a game with 2 to 4 players where you're going to be working together to stop a big threat, using luck and teamwork, helping each other out, working together, this is the game for you. All the heroes are useful in this game. No one's more effective than the other ones. Everyone's got their own abilities. There's no really right or wrong path to take. I reckon people all over age 12 and up can enjoy this game. People who don't really like board games can enjoy this game. If you're a big fan of the MCU, you love Infinity War and want to carry on that kind of theme into a game with your friends, it's definitely a game to have. And I love how challenging it is. I mean, I'd hate it to be too easy, and you wouldn't be able to enjoy it so much if you just won every game. But the ratio of what I've played so far, I mean, I've come close many times, and it's so, you're so satisfied just to get that close to really nearly winning, and then right last second it's taken from you. Kind of like the film, which is what I really like about it. I mean, I take away a few little nitpicks. I could be picky. I could say the colours of the stones are a bit confusing sometimes, and the dice roll is a little confusing. Other than the dice roll, it's pretty simple. That's a little confusing at first, but other than that, it's a fantastic game. A great Marvel themed game, and I highly recommend that you buy it. I got it for $29.99. That's in English pounds, so about $45. And the replayability factor is definitely worth the price you're paying.